All right, so let's get started. Let's first introduce ourselves. My name is Peter Hobor. I'm the CTO of Geomant.
And I'm Jimmy Lee, the Product Manager of Buzzzz. We will be hosting this webinar today, so thank you for joining. As part of this webinar, we do have our product engineer who will be answering your questions throughout the session in the comment section.
All right, so as said, please use the chat window. And let me start with a very short agenda. We will have a very short introduction of the company as well, and a very short business context, basically to talk about why we believe that talking about contact center for teams is a relevant topic nowadays. And thanks you for joining, many of you. So that shows that you also believe it's important. Then we immediately jump into the product demonstration. The main content will be the demo of the product itself. And after the demo, as I used to say, we open the hood and we have a look what's under, and we talk about the architecture and what you need to do if you have a Skype for Business experience, if you have a call center on Skype for Business. Then we have a wrap up where we have some use cases, and if we have enough time, we may be able to cover some of those questions that may come up during the webinar. So Geomant, we are proudly celebrating the 20 years of anniversary of the foundation of Geomant. Unfortunately, this COVID situation is not really helping us, but we are proudly 20 years old company. We started as a system integrator, but by now we are an innovative software development company as well with our own products, like the one we are demonstrating today. And we are operating in direct and indirect model. So in some countries, we work directly with customers, but in many countries, we work with partners. And it's good to see that there are some system integrators on this webinar as well. We are really proud of having certifications from both Microsoft and Avaya. We were part of the technology adaptation program right from the beginning, and now we are part of the Teams partner community itself. Have a presence in 4 continents and in 10 countries. And Buzzzz is the brand that we are using for cloud and digital services. And also there is another brand that you may see is Innova. That's our US company. And that was acquired a year ago, but we have 15 years of history of working together. As said, we are global, so we have big customers all around the world, and we are really proud of that. Let's set the vision of Geomant and why we believe it's good to work with us. And that would like to highlight from this vision statement that we are always trying to help our customers to have seamless, effortless interaction with their customers. And we are a technology company, so we are always trying to be on the edge and be really there when new technologies are coming. So let's set the scene for the call center for Teams, why we believe it is relevant today, and why we believe it's a good answer to the problems we have around, and what are those. The customer engagement is clearly changing. Our own communication to each other is seriously changing. So it's using smartphones that takes over the majority of the conversations with all those over-the-top applications and messaging applications. And it's not just between the consumers, but actually it's between the businesses and the consumers themselves. One example is that 10 billion messages are exchanged just on the Messenger platform alone between businesses and people. So that's a really huge number. And if you see on this little screen, the figures of how many active users are on those platforms, it's really huge and growing. But there is a but on the title. The but is that still it's really high percentage of the contact center traffic that's still on voice. So that is why we believe that voice is still relevant. And it's not just relevant because of the traffic, but also relevant alongside with the digital channels, because very often if someone starts a conversation through the digital channels, voice may still come. So there is one figure here that 45% based on a survey of service customers who came through digital or some service still have a phone call afterwards. So our statement is that voice is not to be replaced, but is to be orchestrated and complemented with the digital. So these needs to work hand in hand and be together. So that was from the angle of how people are communicating. So let's then answer the question, why Teams? So why we believe it's really good to have a contact center on Teams. Because Teams is really growing, the Teams adoption is really growing, and it was even exceptional before the epidemic, but since it's really booming. So the latest figure we had is 44 million daily active users. That's huge, and that's still growing. So I can expect that it's way over 50 million by now. And when you may watch this as a replay, then of course then this figure will be outdated already. Also, there is some sort of organic transition from those who were on Skype for Business. Skype for Business end of life is known. The online version will go away soon. So the people and the enterprises who are using Skype for Business, of course, are looking to migrate to Teams. And if they have contact center on Skype for Business, like our own one, Contact Expert, or any other, then they need to look around and understand what are the options if it comes to contact center on top of the Teams. Also, there is one important that we see on the market is that the COVID-19 and work from home transition was really helping the Teams ecosystem by means of having UC solutions at enterprises that was not that easy to make secure enough or ready for work from home situations. So we see quite a lot of companies who are rather replacing the incumbent UC platform to Teams because it's very easier to use that in the work from home and home office environment. So this is why we believe that talking about Microsoft Teams and having the not just for internal communication but extending that to the external communication is something that is a really relevant topic to talk about nowadays, and that's where our Buzzzz contact center for Teams comes into play, because that's where we are really positioning ourselves to extend the feature set of Teams itself. So and this is to be demonstrated. So I just really want to quickly go through what's included, and what we're gonna see is that we do have, of course, the PSTN connectivity, because that's through which the customers are reaching us. And we do have some basic call treatment, greeting, and queue treatments as part of the standard offering, but we do have our own IVR that can help you to front the Teams contact center, and there you can have any complexity, even some sort of self-service integration with CRMs as well as part of the overall call flow. Of course, this being a call center, we do manage the agent state, and we also have skill management for the agents. Actually, we have more, so it's not just purely skills, but we can assign attributes, and we can freely combine these attributes to make clever decisions on the routing on the agent selection. Reporting and supervisor modules are part of that. We are using the Microsoft Power BI and our own Wallboard to provide this information. And in terms of the telephony connectivity, we can be fully from the cloud, or we can have the hybrid telephony connectivity as well. And this being part of our Buzzzz platforms, all those digital features that are part of Buzzzz, like the chatbots, the channel hub, the callback, escalation to chat, those are all included. And also we are integrated with Teams recording that is powered by the Weber solution. So let's hand this over to Jimmy and let him have the demonstration itself.
Thank you, Peter. What I'm going to go through now is the Buzzzz Contact Center for Teams and how that works in practice. So what you see on the screen is the Teams client, and I'm going to dive straight into the Teams client and show you how it's all set up, who's currently logged in, and then we'll move towards the Buzzzz agent user interface itself and show how a call and other digital channel interactions work and what the agent would see. After that session, we are definitely going to go through the Buzzzz portal, where we'll actually show how this is all set up, the cleverness of the workflow routing behind it, and then we can then go through the reporting and analytics side that is required for a contact center. So me on Teams at the moment, I am going to move over to my team, and this has web extensions installed where all the tabs that you see on the top will be used by agents and supervisors to be able to access wallboards, even access the agent UI, which is available as a tab, and also the administration and the reporting side of things as well. I've opened up the wallboard just to show that there are no agents currently logged into the system. I am logged in as agent demo on Teams, and you can see that currently my agent demo is logged out. From here, I am going to move over to my web console where I can log in via Microsoft. By pressing the button, I am now logged in and I'm now currently in break state. So this means I'm not ready to take calls yet, but I am now logged in, and moving back over to my Teams client, you can actually see that the agent demo is now in a logged in state. At this point here, what I will actually do is I'm going to switch back to my mobile, and I'm going to make a call from my mobile. And dial into the contact center. So the Geomant demo contact center number is published somewhere in the public. Me as a customer, I am dialing in, and as soon as I dial in, I start to hear cue music. Moving over to Teams, you can see that now there is one customer waiting in the queue. From my mobile device, I'm now listening to cue music and waiting for an agent to become available. So in this case now, let's simply move over to the Buzzzz agent interface, and I will continue in auto mode, make myself available to take a call. At this point here, my customer interaction has arrived to me on the agent UI. I am going to answer this call. And as this call is answered, we're at the point where we are connected. My Teams client has now accepted the call by using the toaster in the bottom right corner. You could also do this using your headset as well, if you have a compatible headset to answer the calls. And at this point, I'm now in conversation with that customer. From the agent UI, we have the capabilities to do the basic call controls. So I can put this call on hold, I can make a transfer and disconnect that call. And we're also in synchronization with the Teams client as well. So when it gets to the point where the Teams call controls are also available, we can also handle the fact that you can mute and hold on the Teams client as well. So from here, you can see on the right-hand side of the agent console, we are providing customer data. So based on the telephone number that arrived into the contact center, we can provide the basic customer information based on maybe previous conversations where they provided the name of the customer, and also any contact history as well. So you can see here that there's been previous calls with this customer, and they've all been voice calls. There is the option with our API first architecture that we require some CRM integration. And this customer data panel can be fully supported to be able to push to an API or actually perform a screen pop using a line of business application such as a CRM. So in this current state here, we are in conversation. I can move back over to the real-time wallboard also to be able to have a look at the waiting state. So me moving back onto Teams, you can see that my call is on the top left corner. It's using the CLI that was called in, and that's my mobile telephone number. My agent's in a busy state, and there are currently no calls waiting, and 7 have been handled. We have a call outcome section here as well. So as I move back over to my Teams client, we are in the position where we can disconnect this call, and that will be disconnected from Teams as well. And I have the option to be able to set this as a success. Any notes can be associated to that disposition code as well, and I can simply close that task down, waiting for the next incoming interaction. Me moving back to my Teams client, my handle entry has jumped up to 8, and my success criteria and the call outcomes has also increased as well. So all this can be customized using our wallboard administration portal, where the layout, the visualization view in terms of pie charts can all be customizable as well. On top of handling a voice call, we can also use the same agent user interface and the same agent who's logged in that can handle voice to be able to handle other interactions as well. So one of the business cases we have is to be able to enable digital transformation and enablement, and we are going to go through a Facebook Messenger flow now. So moving back over to the agent UI where I'm currently waiting for an incoming interaction, I'm moving over to my mobile screen and going to my Facebook page. I'm simply going to say hello. And at this point, the chatbot has actually come into play where it's been able to detect who I am and moved me over to a basic FAQ dialogue. With this FAQ dialogue, the current business case of this is IT help desk. So what I can actually do is I can ask some simple questions like, how do I reset my password? And that will instantly respond back to me with some useful articles for me to be able to reset my password. However, I'm also logged in as an agent where I can actually help with this customer when possible. And with asynchronous messaging, such as Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and SMS, which are all channels that we do support today, we can actually allow the agent to be able to take over this conversation when the chatbot no longer requires this help. And I'm simply going to break out by following the advice on that response to say service desk. And here it will pass me over to someone in the team, which is myself. Everything is now shown on the UI where I have the ability to be able to have a look at the past conversation history. I can simply say hello back to the customer. And I am now engaging with human interaction and conversation across the two parties. We have AI all built into the console as well, so we are actually detecting the conversation that's currently going on, most specifically the last message, to be able to offer AI responses based on the knowledge base that's been set up. This gives real good utilization for the agent to be able to look at not only responses, but responses that are completely tailored for the conversation as well. In addition to this, as we are escalated to a live agent and the agent's talking on a conversation such as Facebook, or this could be web chat or SMS or WhatsApp, we can actually handle a voice call as well. And this is all configurable in terms of what the capability of an agent can do. So I'm in a position where I can I'm fed up of the Facebook conversation and I'm just going to dial into the contact center instead. So me dialing into the contact center, as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, has caused the Teams client to ring again. It's waited in the queue. It's managed to find an agent who is suitable, who can actually handle this conversation. I can actually move over to here and have a look at the customer data that's shown up. and I can actually answer the call and get into a connected state. And within this connected state, we can see that both customers are the same customer. And what we can actually do here is shut this down and join the two conversations together as well. So rather than being in conversation purely on the voice side of things, we're now talking on voice and on Facebook Messenger to be able to maybe provide links via Facebook based on the voice conversation that we have as well. So this gives a real unified view in terms of being able to handle customers communicating on multiple channels, and it could be the same customer, it may be different customers as well, but to be able to have that modular user experience where you can actually handle voice calls, Facebook Messenger conversations, web chat conversations within the same unified interface. So from here, what I will do now is I can disconnect the call from here, or I can disconnect the call through Teams, and I can also end the conversations as well. So with Facebook, for example, we're going to say referred voice call instead. Let's close this task down. I'm going to continue talking on the voice call, and this will then end the call on this side, and I can then set this to be a success. However, because we've been just using a conversational interface and Facebook Messenger as an asynchronous communication channel, me moving back over to Facebook has actually continued the conversation on once I've finished with the live agent. And a real good business use case for this is to be able to continue that conversation using a chatbot or a virtual assistant to be able to collect some valuable data. And that valuable data, in this case, during this demonstration, is to be able to rate the experience to detect the customer satisfaction. So I'm going to say I'm very happy with the service. I managed to make a voice call as well and got to the agent who could actually deal with both conversations at the same time. And that response is then tailored back to the customer to say thank you for the positive feedback. Now we've ended the call, we've set the distribution codes and them codes have been shown up on the wallboard. And we've gone through the real-time aspect of it. What I'm going to go through now is the other tabs that we showed at the start of the session. So me moving back over to Teams, we can see that the handled has gone up. I'm currently in an idle state, and I've handled 9 calls. The call outcomes have been detected, and that's set up in a summary pie chart. And I'm going to go through into the Power BI reports now. So the Buzzzz CC contact center has full integration into the Power BI platform. As a Microsoft Gold partner, we've been able to work closely and create a feed directly into Power BI, and this is all available out of the box. We provide the reports that are tailored to the mass need, but also with the beauty of using Power BI as well, full customization can be in place as well. So the report you're seeing on the team side of things is a published online report, which would detail the voice interactions that we're having within Teams currently today. This goes through key metrics such as the longest wait time, longest call duration. We can have a look at the averages of that as well for the 2 queues that we have currently set up. And the calls abandoned and handled and voice call traffic throughout the day. These trends can also be put in place as well and are all available within our data set. On top of the voice side of things, as we go through this report, we also have the digital channel report as well. So this can determine the number of conversations we have by channel. You can see here that web chat is the majority that we have, whereas WhatsApp comes second, and then there is the drip of email at Facebook and SMS that also come into play as well. Based on all this, we can also have a look at how effective our virtual assistant and chatbot is, and we can go through in this session how the chatbot was included into the flow, and there will be further sessions to actually show how the workflow has been set up and how the chatbot was also implemented in a no-code setup as well. But with these key statistics in these reports, we can see that the conversations that have been escalated to an agent is quite high. And that could be a metric to be able to improve the virtual assistant based on any unanswered utterances that have happened during the conversation, but also to show that this is really important, that to be able to use AI and virtual assistants and chatbots, the element to be able to have that unified interface to handle the conversation, whether that's voice or a digital channel, is absolutely key to provide excellent customer experience. So as mentioned, these reports are currently online to get these into Teams. They're also available on Power BI Desktop to be able to have full customization and to be able to look at the raw data set and make any changes to these reports as well. So it really leverages on the power of the Power BI platform by Microsoft. In addition to the digital channel reports and the Teams voice interaction reports, what we also have is the Variant Verba Teams call recording solution that is added as an extension to the Teams contact center. So within here, I am going to log in. Bear with me. Great. So I'm now logged into the Variant Verba solution to enable Teams call recording. Within here, I can search for conversations and have a look at the video call conversations or screen share conversations and be able to have a look and monitor these conversations as well. It's also worth noting here that the Teams call recording, the agents do not need to be a Teams contact center agent, but these could also be back office staff as well to enable the call recording aspect of things. Based on this, we shall move over to actually how this is all set up and what customization options you have within the Buzzzz admin portal to be able to set up cue music, set up the workflow. So let's move back over to my main interface and let's have a look at the portal. So I'm going to log in. Oh, bear with me. And once I'm logged into the system, I now have the option to be able to have a look at what channels I'm currently running for my contact center. What we saw earlier, as the first Teams voice call coming into the contact center, is that within here we set up the channel of voice, and you enable what number can be set for the contact center. This is the number that's published to the public to be able to arrive into the contact center, and it can be defined here. Most importantly, once it enters the contact center, what do we actually do with the voice call? And this is when the workflow comes into play. So within the workflow, we have the option to be able to go and have a look at the demo Teams voice workflow. We'll edit that and have a look at what's been set up. So within the routing side of things, we are going directly to an agent. We are using the Teams cue music queue treatment. And actually we have a selection type that we want to be able to use the routing rules of Jimmy, myself. And the reason for that is that I am the only agent who has the skill of Jimmy to be able to handle the call. This means that actually if I was to remove that skill from my agent, the call would stay in the queue until there was an available agent with that skill. So from here, we can set the routing properties, and we can add various different properties that can either be collected, maybe through an IVR or through a voice assistant, and be able to use them attributes to be able to make routing decisions on. So in this case, let's quickly go through the queue treatment, and we can see that in the Teams queue music, we are waiting 2 seconds and we're simply playing a WAV file and repeating that WAV file until we get hold of an agent. Within here, we have the PBX-like step logic where we can wait a few more seconds and play an announcement to say your call is very important to us and loop that around every 10 seconds to be able to configure and set up your flow that you would like your customers to listen to. Based on this, I will quickly go into my agents and have a look at the resource capability management, where at this point I'm going to look at the agent demo resource itself. So agent demo is here, and I'm going to edit the agent demo, and you can see that the resource property, these are the skills that have been assigned to this particular agent, is that I have the Jimmy value of 1, which means my skill level for the Jimmy skill is at 1. And we're going to use that to be able to make the pairing between the customer and the agent to ensure that we can get first call resolution. In addition to this, moving back to the channels, we have the messaging channels as well. So within the messaging channels, we already have web chat, SMS, WhatsApp, email, and Facebook configured as well. So with the Facebook conversation that we showed a short while ago, we have a messaging workflow, and that messaging workflow is the brains in terms of how the conversation got from a virtual assistant over to a live agent at the right time. So let's quickly delve into the routing workflow. And me moving this down, we can see that we have a first dialog to be able to ask the customer's name. However, through Facebook, using the Graph API, and also based on previous conversations, if we were already to understand the name, we ensure that we don't ask the question again, which meant that during that conversation that we did in the demonstration, this was completely moved on to the next step. And this next step is the FAQ side of things. And what you can set here are confidence thresholds and offering responses. But the most important thing with the virtual assistant side is that when I am unable to be able to answer that question as an instant self-service solution, I can handle what happens next. So when that bot dialog is actually finished, we're actually checking a condition whether that last message contains service desk. And if it did, we're going to send you over to an agent and play that message that we saw to the customer and pass you over to the team. This agent, exactly the same thing. So we are in the position where we can put a connected message in place. The routing property is also here as well. So we use the same skills-based routing to be able to handle the Jimmy skill. And at the end of that conversation, we're at the point where once we're finished with the live agents, we go into a post-chat survey bot to be able to collect the customer satisfaction. We hope that's given you an insight in terms of the voice interaction within Teams Contact Center, how that's set up within Teams as an agent, and also the Power BI reporting side of things with the real-time wallboard. So I'm going to pass you back over to Peter to round up this webinar.
Thank you, Jimmy. This was awesome. What I would like to show you after this demonstration is what's under the hood. So what's actually the engine that's running all of these nice features? And that's the Buzzzz orchestration platform. And the reason I would like to highlight that we do have a platform behind this is actually coming from our vision statement that we are working with enterprises, and we realize that quite often we need to be part of this enterprise infrastructure. Sometimes we need to integrate to other systems. So that's why we did not just deliver some features from the cloud, but we built an overall platform, an orchestration platform that can solve specific use cases, one being the Teams contact center, but it's really open to be able to connect to third-party components and manage this end-to-end orchestration. So let me just have one slide about this and showing you what's the concept behind this. Basically, what you see on the screen now is showing the interaction from both the agent or employee or from the customer perspective. So on the right-hand side, we have lots of systems, CRMs, unified communication systems. Those are there at the enterprises, and the agents are using those applications. On the left-hand side, we have the customers coming not just through voice, but all the other channels, and some of these were demonstrated by Jimmy earlier. And what's the reality that sometimes within the enterprise, there are already some components ready. So these hives are representing of these. Sometimes you do have siloed solution, but what is that will connect these applications within the enterprise and the channels that the customers are coming in? And that's where we position our Buzzzz orchestration platform. We are positioning this as the glue between the communication channels between the customers and the systems that the agents are using, or the systems that are needed to manage the workflows, the different use cases. And the segmentation of these areas is the following. We do have the so-called Channel Connect as part of the Buzzzz orchestration platform that is focusing on the customer experience. So that's where we have all those channel gateways that you could see, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Viber. So those channels that are pretty common, but of course voice was one of those, and very important one through which the customer could reach us. On the right-hand side, we have the Agent Connect, and that is to have the best agent experience that's available. So that's where we provide not just the user interface that was demonstrated, but also that's where we can connect to different CRMs. That's where we can complement the existing call center or UC solution, because it may be that a company have a call center, but that may miss the digital channels, so we can complement that as well. And that is where we are really focusing on to provide the best agent experience. On the middle, we have the called Intelligent Connect. And in some cases, this is AI, so artificial intelligence infused into this part, but sometimes it's really just a basic routing logic based on some CRM lookup. So this is where all those processes and conversation flows are defined, including the AI-driven chatbots that are part of the overall conversation flow. And that is what we call that orchestrate and complement, because this may be integrated to some existing flows that part of the enterprise, but maybe fully covering the entire customer experience. And the fourth component here is the so-called Data Connect. And this Data Connect is to orchestrate and collaborate all of that data that is available during this conversation, but also sometimes got from third-party sources like external UC solution, a CRM system. So a very valuable data is all around the processes, but to have this collaborator that managing and processing this data and making this available for routing decision, business decision, or purely just for visualization in a wallboard, that's part of our orchestration platform. So let's have a look at what was demonstrated from this platform perspective, and let's have a look how this interaction flow was managed by our platform. So the channels were there through the Channel Connect, the various channels that was demonstrated. So we had on the Intelligent Connect some AI-based bot already. We did not demonstrate the CRM integration on that side, but basically we do have a solution to have a chatbot fully integrated with Salesforce or Dynamics to have self-service on the bot side. And then as part of the intelligent connect, we had the interaction routing. That's where the attribute-based routing takes into play. And also that's where we can have priority routing or last agent routing all defined. The data connect part was where we provided the live data for Power BI and for the VOBOT stuff. So that is also a very important to mention that we do provide API. So it's an OData API, industry standard API, through which we provide all the data that was gathered during this call center flow of teams. And then we reach the right side of the screen when we have the agent connect. And this can be standalone, as was demonstrated. This can be within the teams or also can be embedded into the CRM itself. This is how it fits to the overall Buzzzz orchestration platform. Let's have a look at how this fits into the enterprise voice architecture. As mentioned earlier, we do have two options, and both are assuming that you have Teams direct routing either configured or if you are happy to get that configured as part of this deployment. And by the way, referring to those who are transitioning from Skype for Business, if you have your voice infrastructure already for Skype for Business, you have your SBCs, those can be reconfigured. And we are using the same technology here that you used to have on cloud SIP connectivity as well. So back to this example, when there is nothing to be installed on premises or on your data center, all we need is to set up the call center calls in the session border controller to be routed to our data center, and we take care of the rest. And if we need to get an agent, then we are routing it through your SBC with the Teams direct routing configured, and that's how we reach the agent. At the same time, the agent has, of course, access to our application through the Teams client or through the web-based user interface. The other option is to those who are reluctant to get the voice traffic routed to Azure, to our data center. In this case, we have the option to have a local voice gateway. So that's a hybrid call controller that can be installed either on-premise or in your data center. Still, the connectivity through your session border controller is a SIP-based one. But in this case, the communication to our cloud is limited to Azure Service Bus communication. So we don't have any direct link between this hybrid component and with our Azure data center, all managed through the secure Azure Service Bus communication. So this is the other option. The functionality is exactly the same. It is really just up to you which way you prefer. Of course, in this case, there is a server to be installed within your data center or on premises, whatever your setup is. With the previous option, there is nothing to be installed, it's purely configuration on that side. I think we have some time to have a look at the questions, so let's just check it.
So checking the comment section throughout the demonstration, we can see that there was a question asked about reporting. And the question was, how do we add the different views to reporting? I'm going to open up Power BI Desktop. And from here, I can see my voice interaction and my digital channel report that we showed in the demonstration. I'm going to make some quick customizations to it. So within the voice call traffic here, what I can actually do is remove this. Let's take a look at my data set on the right hand side. What we are going to grab, let's grab the total number of calls on a per queue basis. I'm going to put that into a donut chart. That's going to override the voice call traffic graph. I'm going to grab the name of each queue, and that's going to be put into the legend. Let's give that a quick rename to queue. In the value section, we are going to grab the call ID, and that's going to be placed here. Now that gives me a summary in terms of the number of calls that I've had over the past 7 days of that date range, and a percentage as well. We can do some quick customizations. So the count of call ID by queue, we can simply change that title to total number of calls per queue. That's now fully updated, and that can be pushed up and published. That's one way I've been able to make customizations. There's plenty of other ways using such a powerful tool such as Microsoft Power BI as well.
Wow, thank you, Jimmy. That was more than I expected. We are a little bit running out of time, but I hope no one minds because this is really useful information. And thanks everyone. Hopefully you found this webinar useful for you. Feel free to contact us. Here are our contact details, and also you can find us on Microsoft App Stores, the Buzzzz platform itself, and Buzzzz Teams Contact Center are on App Stores, so you can get in touch with us through Microsoft App Stores as well. But we are really would like to talk to you. We do have a lot of use cases to discuss, like if you're a school and you started to use Teams for the education, you have the system there to provide a contact center for the parents, both voice and digital. Or if you are an IT managed service company and you have a ticketing system that can be integrated with the bot, and then still you can use your Teams for voice. Also, if you just want internal HR department supporting your employees or external users, we have a very good use case of having the bus scheduled through a chatbot. So we have tons of use cases that we can discuss with you. And again, digital and voice are friends, not enemies. And Buzzzz is here to orchestrate and complement each other. And we are more than happy, again, to discuss your use case and the way we can help you on this journey. So thanks everyone again being with us, and have a good day.
Thank you all. Bye.